A pick-me, an F-boy, and an optimist enter the cheat retreat. And this, the only thing bigger than the drama is the freaking denial. Because when you decide to trust someone in a span of an apology, and they swear they love you and they would never hurt you again,
I just want to show you that you mean everything to me.
while they're also quietly building a backup plan with someone else,
Obviously, I find you mad attractive.
you have to ask yourself, were you played the whole time? Or were you playing yourself the whole time?
Her and Craig spend a lot of time, but I'm very secure in myself.
Well, we're gonna dissect it and try to figure out where they did all go wrong. For those of you who don't know, Cheat Unfinished Business is like 8 couples. They come to the retreat because they broke up due to a betrayal, but they feel like there's still something between them, and with the help of expert Paul, try to figure out if there is a relationship to mend. Can they recover from the betrayal and be stronger than ever?
Rarely do we have bad people, right? I think we have lots of good people with sometimes bad behavior.
Yeah.
So this is actually my 3rd video on the show. In the first video, we went through all the couples. In the second video, we were trying to understand, why do people keep begging for love when they shouldn't? When you want to tell them, girl, you're trying too hard, just calm down. And today we're gonna look at compulsive liars, pick-me's, and how are you forgiving a little bit too fast? Disclaimer, these are my opinions only. And yes, I most definitely forget that this is a reality TV and I shouldn't take it so seriously. So you know how we do it here. We narrate, we analyze, we often judge. And we do believe that we know better and would do better. Hopefully. So Craig, like the name Craig, it's so difficult for me to pronounce because it kind of sounds like I'm saying crack. Though he is a little... Okay, I'll stop. Craig and Jazz met in the most magical way you can meet. At a gas station.
She's got a flat tire. Helped her, bro. I took her number.
One thing led to another, and they were dating for 9 months. Strolling together in Costco in the evening.
Just strolling around, trying to spend as much time as we could together.
Now, what Jazz did not know, while she was all, oh my God, we're just so perfect. We're just doing the most basic things together and have the greatest time. The frozen peas Craig was buying, yeah, were for the baby mama that was waiting at home. Detail.
I was still in a relationship with my daughter's mother.
Oh yeah, that's how the story goes. You finally think you met the perfect man, and then you find out you're not the main girl. You're the freaking side chick. Is that how the story usually goes? After 9 months, the double life that Craig was living was exposed, and Jazz gave him an ultimatum. Or you walk away from your baby mama, or I'm walking away from you. Craig took a little bit too long to walk away, so Jazz walked away. And now they are back in the retreat. Because Craig is a changed man. And his biggest regret is that he was not honest with Jazz and that he let her go.
You was the right person at the wrong time. And if I'm given this second chance, you are the right person at the exact right time.
And yes, this is a story full of fairy tales. The saving, the wrong timing, the double life. Some people do be really the main and side characters of their life.
I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to show you.
And he does not know what it will take for her to trust him again, but he is willing to do anything to fix it. Jazz is very emotional listening to all of this because that's what she wants. She wants him to acknowledge the mistakes he did and also to acknowledge or to see her as someone who he truly wants to invest in and have this perfect relationship she already thought they had, but, it wasn't real. And what makes her feel that this might really be a new page they're turning is the fact that Craig is even this emotional.
I've never actually seen him be that emotional before. I've never seen him well up.
What now? The two of them are so perfect together, but in almost a year, she didn't experience him being emotional in any way. You're telling me that after it was revealed that he's been lying to you for 9 months, and I imagine he was like, oh my God, sorry, he didn't have a teardrop on his face? Yeah, that sounds like perfect soulmates to me also. So when it comes to Craig and Jazz, it's giving movie. Okay, it's giving the fairy tale, the hero narrative. You see, Craig was the gas station savior turned into wounded knight who met the right person at the wrong time. And now he is back to repent. He is back to prove his love to her. While Jazz is the hopeless romantic, because what if that's the actual truth? I mean, we've seen it on TV. You're in a loveless marriage and then you meet that person who is actually the one. But, life doesn't allow you to move forward in some way, or it does allow you to go in bed, but then to actually do any other action. That's where it is too much and they cannot do it because maybe they're billionaires and there was no prenup. So, here you go. So maybe for Jazz, this is just the way her love story goes. And she needs to give a chance to this knight to fight for her again. If we're trying to pretend that everything I said wasn't cuckoo already, every time you're trying to position yourself as this, almost like movie, romantic fairy tale story, there is this risk of positioning everything on the fate aspect. Jazz could easily focus on the hero in a pickle narrative when it comes to Craig, rather than recognizing that this man lived a double life for 9 freaking months. He managed to lie about it and go Costco shopping with her while the groceries were actually for the girlfriend at home. Hello. But let's see how this fairy tale story ends. Now, on the other side, we have Rebecca and Biggs.
We were planning for the future, like moving in together officially. Biggs always loved us.
Now, the Rebecca and Biggs story is a little bit more like there are two couples that entered this retreat not really knowing if the other person actually cheated on them, right? And when it comes to Rebecca and Biggs, she ended the relationship because she wasn't feeling good about herself.
I was unhappy in myself, so I was pushing everyone away.
And she decided to call it quits, not to hurt herself, but also to protect Biggs. Now, they kept being very good friends for the next 3 years, but now they are back here to kind of try the whole relationship again. Side note, I think they were on Temptation Island or something. There is always this talk about how they are famous from somewhere else, and I have no idea from where. During their time, there was some, cheaty chat about how Biggs is cheating or has cheated on Rebecca, but she was like, Biz, do you see how I look like? Do you see how fun I am? That is impossible.
I was so in love with him to the point that I just kind of believed what he said.
Just so it turned into that, yes, it's actually exactly what happened. So she found on this retreat that Biggs actually cheated on her. And Rebecca? Well, Rebecca is not the type to say, let me understand you. Rebecca is the type to say, bitch, what? Bye-bye.
Can't even look at you. It makes us feel sick.
And look, personally, I don't blame her because I'm also not the type to understand those types of things. But maybe we are limited. Honestly, you have to sympathize with Rebecca in some way in this case, because imagine you thinking that you were such a good person and you were prioritizing almost well-being of another person. It's me, it's not you. Just to find out that the other person was actually clocked out a little bit sooner and they also cheated on you. So Rebecca is double hit. Rebecca is hit by the betrayal itself and also being a dum-dum. Honestly, that's the thing when it comes to betrayal and being honest about it. Like, of course, you have always this option of they will never find out. And in some cases, better, especially like if you're separated. If you separate, if your lies totally develop, like you don't even need to know, I guess, right? Why do I now need to know what was happening before if I didn't know it before? Whatever. But if you continue the relationship, or if you genuinely want to be with this person again, or if you continue the friendship with this person, the more you postpone like actually sharing what happened, now you are hitting the person with two things. First is the betrayal, and the other thing is that everything that happened after betrayal suddenly feels fake, suddenly feels a lie. Because on some level, it was a lie. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about this self-sacrifice exit or breakup, ending the relationship under the "it's not you, it's me."
And the only reason why it ended is because I was unhappy in myself. So I was protecting myself and protecting you.
Here's the thing. This is still a very avoidant approach to the relationship. Even if on some level, especially looking at Rebecca, she was like, I'm taking care of myself and also you. I understood that I'm hurting people around me and I had to step away. There is still this question, really though, right? If you say the relationship was perfect, but I wasn't perfect, like, how does that work? How can we say it's not you, it's me, when at the same time we do know how much an impact a relationship has on someone's life? So that kind of makes me think that there are two sides to it, right? The healthy thing when it comes to it's me, it's not you, is the basic self-awareness, right? Sometimes we do struggle with personal things and it just impacts the other person or the relationship in a way that it's not fair, right? And it is justifiable if you say, I just don't want my partner to carry these burdens with me. This is my problem and I want to solve it on my own. I still believe that underneath it all, it is that this partner is not really the right partner for what you actually need. Now, on the other side, we can have the protective self-sacrifice exit, which is not so much about you being self-aware, but it's almost like having the moral superiority. And what I mean by that is I am leaving this relationship and it's me, it's not you, because I'm not really able to communicate what's not working for me. I'm not really able to express what do I need, what is not met, right? And instead of addressing that, which would be actually fair to the other person, I mean, give them some tips on how they can be better in another relationship, or give them at least opportunity to understand like why this relationship didn't work. The worst thing is to say, it's all me, and then they go on their merry way thinking they're perfect. I mean, that can also then turn into not really knowing and then being afraid of abandonment because you never really understood why the other person left. In any case, it's not the best thing, okay? You're not helping the community in any way. Exiting with self-sacrifice almost becomes like this preserving a certain image. Because then suddenly everyone looks at you and says, wow, like you're such a good person that you were able to recognize and step out. I mean, bravo. Totally missing that. Is this like a self-awareness thing, or are you just avoiding and dumping people just because you don't feel like it anymore? So, when you have this self-sacrificing exit, I think it's fair to recognize if you are actually being self-aware and you know how to express that with the other partner. Are you acknowledging if there is any impact from the relationship, or are you just being, play this moral superiority, which is in reality just disguising that you're being avoidant and not capable of conversation. So, that's just how I feel about this situation. Now, when it comes to Biggs and Rebecca, in general, when they even try to have a real conversation about it, Biggs felt very immature. Like he wasn't really capable of actually addressing what happened. And at the same time, when she asked him if he would be quiet forever if they have never broken up, he didn't really have an answer for that.
Speechless.
So all of that makes Rebecca feel like this, no, right? And like I said, I can't blame her for that, okay? I would be like Rebecca. Most definitely. Now, Biggs tries to plead his case.
I can understand how you feel.
But he would also like if she would appreciate and acknowledge the fact that this was not easy, you know, coming clean.
And I did that for love everyone.
On national TV. Is this national TV? On Netflix, which in today's day and age is national TV, I guess. His whole thing is that he wants to fix things with Rebecca because he loves her and he really wants them to be together.
I love you, man. I'm here to change.
He believes that they can do this. But Rebecca is not that sure. So if I try to label this situation the same way I did for Jazz and Craig, I would say that when it comes to Biggs and Rebecca, this is the oops, I actually did it versus the I thought I was selfless and I just find out I'm a dum-dum type of situation. Now, all of the couples go through different things in this retreat. And one of the, let's say, exercise or things is that they have this exchange. So the couples are split in two houses. Different exes live with different exes. So two exes don't live with each other. And this exercise is pairing different exes together. And it's like, you know, share what does my ex talk about or where is his or her head at. And when it comes to Jazz, she has an exchange with Connor, who developed a bit of a friendship with Craig. And according to Connor, Craig is like his big brother. And it is clear that Craig is so sorry for what he did to Jazz, what he put her through. And you can literally, according to Connor, hear it in his voice how much he is hurting.
You can sort of hear the pain like in his voice. I can tell he's very sincere with it.
And Jazz is receptive to this, right? I mean, it feels good hearing that other people see Craig as someone who is very remorseful for what he did.
So weird because he's treating me and keeping cute. So
and
to hear
Craig.
me like
Yeah.
saying loads of nice things, I'm like, what?
So I guess this makes her feel like maybe Craig did change a bit. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where we trip and fall on our faces. Okay. So let me get something straight. Just because someone else tells you that they think your partner is so perfect, or not so perfect, but that they are so remorseful and they really want to try it and blah, 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 you cannot just take that as a truth. Because first of all, these people know each other just for a couple of days in this retreat. Second of all, this man was able to lie to you for 9 freaking months. But now he comes to this retreat and he's telling to everyone how sorry he is. And we are just, yes, I believe him. There's something about it, you know? That sadness, I can feel it. I really have a problem with this because it just, again, feeds into this wounded hero narrative rather than actually acknowledging, you know, all of this is good and all of this is fine, but there are serious issues that we need to acknowledge here to move forward. Like, he needs to seriously address why is he even able to keep up with the double life for so long, right? What is driving him? Now, moving to Craig, he actually has a conversation with Sean. He expresses that how much he loves Jazz.
Jazz just makes my heart weak, man. Like, honestly, I never wanted to let her go. And that still haunts me to this day.
And I'm a little bit confused because if she was such a perfect person, if she was the one, if she was everything that you wanted, to me, it does not make sense that you were able to live a double life for 9 months. Like, that to me, where's the logic? I don't understand how. Sean shares with Craig that Jazz is struggling to knowing if Craig is really 100% into her and into their relationship. And Craig expresses that he is, but at the same time, he wants to know if Jazz herself is actually invested in this, that she still loves him.
I just wish she would, like, believe me and trust me a bit more. I want to know she's all in, if that makes sense. Maybe it's her protecting herself, I think to myself sometimes.
Yeah, maybe.
But I want her to just show me you love me, tell me you love me, like.
And if that's not like an alarm going like, let's stop a little bit, let's digest. I don't know what is. Hearing someone who lied, who betrayed, who didn't choose her at the end of the day, wanting to get reassurance that he is still loved before he 100% invests in it is not the vibe that I want from a wounded hero.
Maybe it's my insecurities because of what I've done in the past, but sometimes I question it.
If someone is betraying you in that way and they feel like it's enough to say I'm remorseful for, I don't know, a couple of days in a retreat on a TV show, and they immediately expect you to level with them, there's something that's not clicking. What do you mean level with me and show me that you love me and that you appreciate me? Boy, you need to work the double to meet me where we were, and then we can work together on trust. And I talked about this extensively in the video between Lucia and Connor and how all that went down. Or Liam and Olivia. Honestly, all of these couples have problems. I don't know. What do you think about this? I can see how it can be a genuine worry, but at the same time, it also makes me feel a bit icky. Honestly, it's falling into almost like flipping the accountability. So instead of focusing how, I can repair the hurt that I did, while you are processing that hurt, I'm asking you, but do you love me? And I don't think that's an approach of someone who is genuinely trying to repair their wrongs. I think that's approach of someone who is, at the end of the day, looking at the situation, how does it serve me? Will this serve me or will this not serve me?
This experience is making me think maybe I need to be a bit more open.
That's what I was going to say to you. I understand completely what you're saying, but I feel like there has to be like that sort of line in the sand. Then we can both just push on together.
Even in confessionals, Jazz is reflecting and she is acknowledging that maybe she's been going too much into this as, you need to prove yourself to me. And in reality, she should hear him out, right? Level with him in some way.
I need to actually consider how he feels and like how he's feeling about doing this whole process for me. I'm like, okay, maybe I should take a second.
And I personally think that is a mistake numero uno, because this is premature leveling. If you start thinking about what is fair before any actual change from the other person is shown, apart from him being emotional, right? Then that is clearly a premature step. There is a difference between I'm being too hard versus I'm being appropriately firm with my boundary. I'm not going to reassure you because I've done that. I didn't betray you. I thought we were good. You're the one who lied to me. So now it's on you to bring me to that path. And for me to get to that path, like some things need to actually change on consistent basis. Not just like, I'm sorry, you were the right person at the wrong time and now everything will change and I'm here to prove that to you. But the next second it's like, well, you know what, baby, I'm going to prove that to you. But first, do you love me? Like, is it worth for me to prove that to you? You cannot go from show me you are safe to maybe I should meet you halfway in a span of an apology. So if I try to put it like in a more structured way, when do you recognize that what the person is asking is a genuine concern and healthy way of checking that you are both in? And when is it almost like a manipulative tactic to flip the blame and so on? The first thing, like I said, is timing. If someone is asking you to reassure them with their love before any actual change happened, then it's clearly trying to flip the narrative. If they ask after some changes, like you showed some changes, then it's a genuine concern. Then it's genuinely coming to you and saying, look, I feel like I'm being constantly punished and I just want to understand, where are we? Like how much do you feel like you still need me to prove that this is it before we go to the next stage, right? So that would be the difference. How fast is the request for reassurance happening? The second thing is how everything is framed. If a person that hurt you comes to you and says, I know I hurt you, and I am committed to prove to you that I am trustworthy and that I'm very regretful of what I've done, and I want to be with you and I want to make this work. At the same time, knowing that you still have feelings for me in some way does give me hope while I work on this. That would be like a genuine approach of acknowledging that you know that you can't just expect this person to now just be halfway 50-50 and blah, 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 because nothing really changed. But at the same time, expressing that it would help you knowing that there is some hope. Like, I see that as a genuine. But if someone comes to you and says, like, I need to know that you are into this, otherwise, what's the point of me even proving myself to you? Or I don't even want to prove myself to you unless I know that you're really into me. That to me is like falls under unhealthy behavior, like a manipulative tactic to switch who is the one who now needs to work for reassurance. If a person puts you in a position when you feel like you need to make them feel safe first before you start feeling safe with them, I would reconsider. I would reconsider what is their actual intention. Are you in this because you truly believe that I'm the right person and you acknowledge that you made a mistake? Or is this only true if you get something out of it? Because then again, you putting your needs first when not the time. Another indicator, which can be a bit more challenging to recognize, or, you recognize when you know it, but maybe it doesn't really click, is how they approach sharing their regret, for example. If they're vulnerable, but at the same time patient and acknowledge that it will take some time from your side, I think that is genuine. But if it feels like they are, very sorry and regretful and expressive and almost trying to force you to reassure you in that moment, and even, it could feel a little bit performative, then I think it's not really coming from a place of understanding what they actually did to the trust that you had for them with the betrayal. Because it's almost giving like a kid that gets caught eating candy and he's like, or she's like, no, I want to stay up. I won't eat candy anymore. I promise I won't eat candy anymore. And that's just, that's not approaching a relationship when you're actually trying to rebuild in a mature way trust. So I think those would be the indicators when someone is prematurely asking for forgiveness and you start feeling as though you should give it, even though nothing was actually established yet, apart from the apology itself. So pay attention if the guilt flips. So instead of focusing on what they did wrong, now you're focusing on how you can reassure them so they will continue to be better. Pay attention to how fast everything is happening. Are they asking for reassurance before any actual change happened? And then, like I said, also, what is their reaction if you are not able to give them that reassurance right away? Are they patient with it, or are they like, then what's the point of me even doing this? And I think that Jazz kind of tripped in this situation because she also has voices around her that tell her how Craig is perfect, I think at one point people were even like, how they wish they would have a Craig because Craig is so clear with how he wants her and this and that. It genuinely fogs the reality of this man be lying for 9 months, okay? So there is some skill there that we need to pay attention to. Now, if I dip a little bit in the situation that's happening between Rebecca and Biggs, I mean, shit is just going down. Because while Biggs is expressing that he loves Rebecca and he wants her back and the hookup didn't mean anything.
I don't remember her name or what she looks like.
Which honestly, I don't know what makes it worse. Is it better that the person they hooked up, they knows her or him, or if they don't? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, I'm genuinely interested. Biggs is honestly giving the I was stupid in the past. I don't know why I did it, but now I'm changed and I'm gonna work on myself and I'm gonna prove it to you, right? And in like on surface levels, okay, yeah, good. But when you say I was stupid and the past is in the past, or I didn't know, or I should have known better, I personally find it very challenging to even entertain the idea that you are changed or that you want to change when you don't even know what is that change that is needed. I was being stupid, that's why I cheated, gives me zero, gives me nothing. We talked about it before, but you're basically asking me to trust you because you apparently now trust yourself that you wouldn't do it. So it's like, it's a very interesting expectation. Now, what gives me the confidence that there is actual, even if the change has not happened yet, but that you are actually changing and you are working through change, is that you actually understand why the betrayal happened in this case, or whatever the argument is about, or whatever, caused you hurt or whatever. For example, why was I texting with someone else, or why was I cheating with someone else? Let's say because I needed attention. Okay. Why did you need attention? Was there a lack of connection in the relationship? Yes. Why was there a lack of connection in the relationship? Was it just a selfish thing that you did? Then if that's a yes, why do you feel like you need to do selfish things when you are in a relationship? Does it fall into not wanting to be dependent, not really feeling like, like not really understanding what partnership in relationship means? And that actually helps you understand how to work on things. Or the question could be, was the connection in relationship missing because I never really expressed what I want? Why don't I express what I want? And so on, right? So if I see that you actually try to understand what was driving your behavior, then that gives me the confidence in at least going into with the trust that you have clarity on what you need to work on. And then we still need to figure out if that is actually the thing or how do you work on it and blah, blah, blah. But if you can't even express that, or the answer is, I was stupid, I was immature, I was just afraid, I didn't know, then I think you're approaching the changing part on a surface level, not acknowledging that you have a certain attitude towards relationship, towards your partners, that driving that unhealthy behavior. And if you don't know what that is, how can I trust that you even know what to work on when it comes to change? That's something that I, in general, pay attention to. If we don't get to the point of what was driving that behavior, we can't move forward to the changing part. Because what are we actually trying to fix? And I think it is so common and so easy to just wait for the change. Or like in Liam and Olivia's case that we talked in previous video, the change is you putting me as a priority, which is a surface level change that doesn't address why does someone have a problem putting you a priority. That's the part that you need to work on. And then the priority part will come as a result, as the outcome of the work done, not that's the work you need to do. Does that make sense? Honestly, that's what, in my case, proven a couple of times. For example, even me and my partner weren't able to actually figure out what is driving a certain behavior. We thought we did, but it wasn't. Like the thing just repeated, right? So until we actually address, okay, but let's really think about what is actually happening here. And these guys, honestly, I don't see any of them having any real understanding of what needs to be changed. I think Paul, the expert, is helping them a little bit, but most of these guys are like, this, trust me, I'm a different guy.
Have you done anything else along the way?
Couple of texts here and there. Didn't go anywhere.
It kind of comes out that maybe there wasn't just a hookup with this random person. It seems that there might have been also some text here and there. Now, this obviously comes back to Rebecca.
Who? The same one or different?
No, I think during your relationship.
You know what? He cheated on me. There was also text during our relationship when I thought that we were perfect, apart from me struggling with myself. I mean, what's the point of even continuing? And honestly, I'm with Rebecca.
Quite frankly, I'm feeling like I'm I'm done before something's even restarted.
So basically, the couples go into the reckoning room, and this is where we see interesting things come to life. So basically, when it comes to Biggs and Rebecca, I'm literally just repeating myself. Rebecca is like, I cannot forget and forgive. I'm being honest. While Biggs is convinced that they can fix that and he's going to prove himself to her, and he has hope for this relationship.
I can't just forgive and forget.
It's not easy, but I believe we can get through this. I love you.
And Rebecca is just sitting there and like zero, no emotion. She's just like, okay, you try. When it comes to Craig and Jazz, they address how Craig wishes that Jazz would be a bit more receptive or sharing her love with him so he can have like more stamina to keep on trying or whatever.
I just needed that sense of security that Jazz does want to move forward with myself. Sometimes I just need to hear that Jazz wants me as much as I want her.
And Jazz also, accepts that and says that she was focusing a lot on him proving himself to her, but she feels that it is fair that she also reassures him.
Sometimes maybe I don't acknowledge the things Craig does, so maybe I do need to consider how you feel more.
One question that is challenging when you find yourself in these situations, but also so telling, is asking yourself, am I good with this answer or this solution because it makes me feel good? Or is it actually good for the relationship? In Jazz's case, when she accepts Craig being sorry and Craig claiming that he wants her and no one else and he's here for her, and she then says, you know what, maybe I should soften, that is an indicator, right? If she would ask herself the question, why am I doing this? She would recognize that it is because her ego is her ego is being stroked in some way. He recognized that I'm the one and now he wants me back. But if she would actually want to have a good relationship and know the importance of that, she would take this as a, okay, good, thank you, but what does actually need to change in your behavior in relationship? Then she would actually be focused on how to make this relationship better. It is so easy to get our egos, pleased and feeling like, okay, I am special. He recognized that, or he does prioritize me, totally missing the point that you are being kind of, soothed with soothing the ego rather than actually focusing on what is good for the relationship and long-term good for both of you. And as we are about to just accept the fact that I guess this is now it, right? This is going to be the redemption arc of the fallen hero and the true love that will accept his apologies and help him upgrade. Jazz and Craig get into a fight. A very revealing fight in my personal opinion, and maybe some other people. So the whole shit goes down between Olivia and Liam, which we all went through and dissected it in my last video. So you can check that one also, especially if you're struggling with chasing and being desperate for someone who's just not that into you. And Jazz is Olivia's friend. So she kind of stands up for Olivia and calls Liam out.
Oh, you didn't know the details. You're the one who fucked the girl. Of course you know the details. You was there.
Now, the whole time, Craig is not happy with Jazz, according to him, butting into other people's relationships, right? And he is calling her out. He's not just saying, babe, I'm sorry, I think this is not helping them because maybe they need to kind of talk about it. I get what you're coming through, but maybe it's better if the two of them, just in a nice way. No. Craig is like, why do you need to butt yourself in their relationship or something? I don't know. Roll the clip.
Don't jump in all the time. Worry about our relationship. Don't get involved in other people's.
No, because
please.
I have to see the
Yeah, but I've
aftermath
seen
of,
stuff.
of
I've seen
Olivia's
stuff.
conversations
I'm
with
very
him.
close with him in the house, and I could jump in at any point.
I'm sticking up for Olivia because...
worry about us.
No, because he's just literally sitting there lying.
Aw, the man who is so in love with this woman and she is his everything needs to stand up for apparently a buddy he met in the retreat for a couple of days and a guy who everyone knows is freaking gaslighting left and right. Not sus at all. But if it's not ringing any bells, let me break it down. Okay, so the first thing is, look, we've all been in a situation where maybe your partner is saying something and you're like, well, man, they shouldn't be saying this right now, right? And there is always the healthy way to approach it or the right way to approach it, and there is the wrong way. And the wrong way is most definitely publicly shaming your person because you are more focused on your self-image. In this case, Craig, to me, is someone who is more focused on how he is perceived image-wise, and especially in front of Liam, who he developed a friendship, over his partner, who is basically not talking shit. Honestly, she was not talking shit. She was fair in what she said to Liam. When he attacks her in that way, he is basically communicating to her that your voice is less important than the comfort in this room, not realizing that he's the one who's creating discomfort. But he doesn't see that because he's focused on his own preservation. This is also something that he shares later on in the house when he talks to Liam. And oh my God, the wording he uses, I'm gonna get into it. But just to give you some context here, he shares with Liam that why he said something to Jazz is because Jazz didn't recognize that she is putting him in an awkward position with Liam. So he was more focused in what will this mean with Liam rather than recognizing that he is basically shutting down his partner in front of everyone and is trying to frame it as concern when in reality is control. Honestly, I don't even think he's trying to plant it as concern. It's literal control. Because here's the thing. If your partner, if you do something, right, in a group, in public and so on, and your partner in private expresses that, hey, babe, that I don't think that was right. I think you should maybe, be careful when you say things like that because maybe some people are more sensitive, whatever it is, then it's actually your partner expressing concern and maybe pointing out some things that you also need to acknowledge. Like that is actual genuine and that is healthy for the partnership. But if I'm shutting you down in public, then I'm controlling you. Then it's not about concern. It's not about, we are in this together. It's about whatever you're saying makes me look bad now and I need to shut it down. Now, you can say that it can happen, right? It can happen that your partner shuts you down publicly and, it's not the best thing. Everyone makes mistakes. And when that happens, what I would focus on then in private would be like, when you tell them, look, I didn't feel good about how you shut me down. It felt a bit controlling and I just don't want our relationship to be this way. If your partner says, yes, I recognize that that was not okay. I just acted on my emotions and I apologize and then also express concern. Then it's like, okay, my man, you stumbled, but we're moving forward, right? But if they approach with defensiveness and framing it as, I saved you, if I wouldn't say anything, people will think that da-da-da-da-da, then it's again anything but actual concern for the relationship or for you. Then it's just image preserving under I'm protecting you. It's bullshit, okay? Protect me by telling me in private and actually show concern for me, not shutting me down in public and presenting yourself as the man in front of everyone. Please. Or if they're trying to be like, oh my God, you're exaggerating, that was nothing. That's also not okay. I can see how that can easily happen, but acknowledge that it's not okay, okay? And actually talk to your partner. And honestly, despite the two of them trying to present that this was once a perfect story and how Jazz is the right person at the right time this time, you can see how this relationship is lacking a lot of just common respect. And even if you look at the situation where Craig is in a position where he is rebuilding trust with Jazz, who is looking for this consistency of respect and, not treating her as a dum-dum who he can hide things from, lie to, and so on. The fact that in a very public setting, the first chance he gets, he actually shuts her down, that is very telling of how Craig actually treats Jazz and how this relationship is not just him fixing his betrayal. They need to fix a lot of things. Now, in the confessionals, Craig is sharing that, he doesn't feel the best because Jazz is prioritizing other people's relationships over her own, and he feels disrespected.
Jazz is too worried about other people's situations instead of concentrating on our situation. It was just the disrespect that I felt, and I just want that understanding.
Now, when he's talking with Liam, he says a very interesting thing, like something that is quite alarming.
The way I look at it as well, me allowing Jazz to do that with you makes it awkward for us. Yeah.
Allowing Jazz. Now let me ask you, in an equal partnership, do you ever feel like you have the entitlement, the right to allow or not allow someone something? Or in this case, someone to express themselves how they want? No? Congratulations, you're healthy. For all the rest, you need some repairing to do, mental repairing to do. And here's the thing, it tracks. It totally tracks. Like it actually tracks with who Craig is showing to be and also what we know about what happened. If you are able to lie to someone for 9 months, making them believe that you two are perfect together while you're actually also in a serious relationship with someone else, then clearly you do not see the other person as equal. Clearly, you think you are above them because you think that you are almost allowed to lie to them and betray two people. You think you are better than them. Period. So the fact that he shuts Jazz like this, the fact that he's using words like allow her, the fact that he expects her to apologize to him because somehow he feels disrespected is tracking that he does not see his partner, whoever it is, as actually equal to him. He might say that he loves you. He might say that you are his only one and everything. But underneath it all, he does believe he is better than you. And you should be lucky that he even wants you. Now, on the other side, Jazz is actually taking this very well. And by very well, I mean she is calling out the bullshit and the disrespect, how wrong this was.
He was giving me so many dirty looks across the table. By shutting me down, you're backing your friend.
Yeah.
Because you're actually condoning his nasty behavior.
She shares in confessionals that what Craig was doing was not okay, and she genuinely thinks that it made him look stupid, that he was sticking up for a friend he just met. Everyone knows that he's lying over her, who is supposed to be his true love.
If you think you can tell me to speak, like you're obviously dating the wrong person. No man's going to tell me what I can and can't say.
And here's the thing. I love that Jazz is recognizing how effed up this was, but I do wish she would take it as another sign of how she is being treated by Craig. So if she would not look at this as a single incident, but if she would actually look at this as something that is, a thing that happened also in the past, lying for 9 months, right? It will give her a clearer picture of maybe don't just trust him from the get-go. Maybe don't just try to meet him halfway right now. Now, on the other hand, a lot of times it happens that when someone kind of like shuts you in that way or tells you need to be a certain way or almost dictates what you can and cannot do and puts it under, I'm just helping you in some way, we start to lose ourselves, right? We start to, rethink, should I even say something? We start to behave differently in group sessions, group settings, especially when this person is next to you. And that's when it turns into very dangerous territories, when you are basically being controlled by the other person. And you think that it is for your own good, but you fail to realize that the fact that this person even believes that they can control you in that way and almost train you or raise you is a red flag in itself. Like, that's a sign that this is not good. Now, after this whole shenanigans, they actually have a group exercise. And when it comes to Jazz and Craig, they are called up to, do this exercise, and they cannot even look at each other. Clearly, they are mad. And Paul, the expert, actually clocks it. He's like, guys, I see that you can't even look at each other. And I can see that there is a lot of pride between the two of you.
And your pride will destroy your relationship.
Now, he says something that makes sense, but honestly, it can be dangerous. And I'm going to explain why. So basically, he says that pride will never help a relationship, right? You cannot approach recovering a relationship when you have pride. And like I said, in general, yes, I agree. A lot of the times we let pride take the wheel, when in reality we should say, hold up, let's actually see what's good for the relationship. But I do not think this was a good advice in this setting. Of course, we don't know what else Paul the expert said, but they didn't say anything about it on TV, so I'm going to share it here with you. Here's the thing. Pride can help you or it can damage. The good side of pride is when it's working for your well-being, but it's not, let's say, cutting the dialogue, right? You're not being, defensive, or you're not being like driven by ego, but literally the pride helps you keep certain boundaries. And the bad side, or using pride in the bad way, is when you are using it because it's more about you winning than actually understanding. So when we look at Jazz and Craig, and when we just say, oh, you're both so prideful, we kind of miss the actual situation they are in and the power dynamics that are happening here. You see, in my personal opinion, Jazz's pridefulness is a protective one, because she's someone who's been lied to, she's someone who needs to rebuild trust, and she's someone who has been shut down by Craig in a public setting. So her pride is helping her set that boundary or set that limit in, I'm not going to be treated this way. While Craig's pride is actually the defensive one, the deflective one. I am mad at Jazz for nothing that had anything to do with me, but I created the story that it had to do with me, how she disrespected me, and I am now pouting because I want her to acknowledge that. He feels disrespected even though the whole thing had nothing to do with him, and it only revealed how he's actually treating Jazz. His whole attitude is what he allows her and doesn't allow her based on how it impacts him. So to me, it is a little bit, it can be deceiving when we say you are both prideful. I think that Jazz is actually acting in the right way, like she has been treated badly, while Craig has no real foundation to stand on. A part of that it's all about him. So I just wanted to put that in. It's not always, prideful, so you need to let your guard down, which is unfortunately what happens in this case. Because when Paul mentions this pride, both of them kind of, let go a little bit. And honestly, I think it's way premature for Jazz to let go, because Craig is the one who is, not treating her right. Now they go into the second part of the exercise, where I guess it's like share something that you love about the other person. And Craig shares how he likes that Jazz is actually funny.
Your sense of humor.
Really?
Yeah, she's got good jokes. It does make me laugh, but I've never wanted to admit that.
You've never told me this.
Now, this comes as a big surprise to Jazz, and it comes to all of us even bigger surprise when she shares that he never wanted to admit that, or he never said to her that she is funny. And he's like, yeah, I actually never wanted to admit it. Now, is this not another point of attention if we avoid using the word red flag? Hello, knock, knock, knock. If someone does not want to compliment you because they think if they do, they're gonna lose some kind of leverage, wouldn't you be like, wait. Do you actually love me? And do you want good for me? And you want this relationship to work and you want partnership? Or is this all about who has the upper hand? Like, if you're with someone who admits that they withhold compliments, wouldn't it make you also a little bit sus of how much is it equal and how much they're actually in competition with you? The fact that Jazz takes this as a, oh my God, I didn't know, and that everyone is kind of like laughing, I'm like, water, people, bucket of ice water and splash it over everyone. Are we serious right now? Now, when it comes to Jazz and her sharing what she loves about Craig, she says it's his generosity.
Like, he's very giving with like gifts and things like that, but also with your time.
And honestly, I mean, you have to give it to man. Like, he was so generous. He was dating 2 people at the same time. Okay? Overall, this exercise seems to end in a positive experience for the 2 of them because they hug it out and they are ready to continue on repairing this relationship. Oh, in the confessionals, she actually admits that she's in love with the potential of Craig.
Like, when we dated the first time, I could see the man he could be, but he wasn't being that man. Whereas now I'm just hoping he can be the potential that I've been waiting for.
Which is always a good thing. Now, in this group session, another breakthrough happens. Another breakthrough, basically a continuation of a breakthrough. And it is between Biggs and Rebecca. So we find out that Biggs is in love with the relationship him and Rebecca had rather than Rebecca herself.
I think I'm in love with what we had at the start.
Yeah.
And Rebecca is basically very uncomfortable sitting there trying to look at Big's eyes. And she's just like, I can't do this. This is not good for me.
But sometimes you can't look at someone in the eye because they disgust you.
Exactly that.
Disgusted.
Yeah.
I just think I deserve to have been told. And then now I'm here like fucking idiot. Like trying to look you in the eyes, holding your hands. I'm struggling to do it, Paul.
Yeah.
And this is where Paul, the expert, acknowledges that some people do not forget and forgive, and that might very well be Rebecca. Now, when she sits back, she sits next to Craig, who tries to, give her some advice, right? She should give it time, but Rebecca doesn't have any time to give. To which Craig says that she hasn't really given it any real time, if we're being honest.
You haven't even given it.
I don't care.
And honestly, all of this is very weird to me because this is a man who lied to 2 people for 9 months. Okay, but maybe I am just too detailed. But the thing is, something that I haven't really shared with you yet, especially if you haven't watched the show, is that Craig and Rebecca actually formed a bit of a friendship here in the retreat. They really get it on, They are, honestly, if there was no Biggs and if there was no Jazz, they would be the one to click.
Take your hat off. I can't see your eyes, girl.
Shut up.
You always look beautiful, babe.
Oh.
I just don't tell you every day.
Well, Craig, if it doesn't work out, yeah.
Even Jazz knows that Rebecca is 100% Craig's type. But at the end of the day, she's not really worried about their friendship because she knows and she trusts Craig that he is there for her. And also, isn't this the whole point? She needs to trust the process. The problem is, though, Craig might not be that into Jazz, at least not as much as she thinks he is, or how much he's telling everyone he is. And his friendship with Rebecca, maybe it's a little bit more just a simple click.
I didn't come in here for any other reason but Jazz. But with Rebecca, kind of blown me away a bit.
And when it is revealed that the two houses are gonna merge, despite Jazz being the only one for Craig, well, he's not that excited about spending all this time with his missus there. Because he kind of likes spending time with Rebecca. And now he'll have to be a bit more careful.
I can't believe this has just happened. How do you feel?
I just don't know, man. What are you feeling?
I'm looking at it more friendly.
That's how I'm feeling.
And honestly, even though we are now going to see how Craig even managed to do the double life in real life, the way he's behaving in the retreat, I mean, haven't I proven already that he is not really a healthy partner material? And even if this triangulation that we are about to embark on wouldn't happen, that Jazz should not be with him, that's the thing with betrayal, cheating, and other parties involved. There are some bases in the relationships that are already indicating that this is not okay. The difference is, do you want to accept those, or are you waiting until another betrayal happens? And that's the one that you're going to take seriously. Kind of started raining outside, which made also the inside a bit cold. So basically, they merge the rooms. And Craig is, he's not the happiest about it. And he also shares it with Rebecca. Rebecca is asking him if he's going to sleep with Jazz, if they're going to share the bed together. And she also informs him that she's not going to do it with Biggs.
Are you going to sleep in the bed with that tonight?
I don't think I can.
I'm not.
And Craig himself, he's not really sure he can actually share a bed with his girlfriend he is trying to mend the relationship with, right? The one he's so in love with.
I just want to show you that you mean everything to me.
Now, Rebecca is cheeky, okay? She's little flirtatious, and she asks him if she's gonna get jealous, right? Referring to herself.
Am I going to get jealous?
I hope so.
I hope so. I'm going to get jealous.
I hope so.
You're a little shit.
And I'm like, what? What in the fuck is going on here? What makes everything even worse is the fact that Jazz, on the other side, she's like, oh yeah, me and Craig will share the bed. Yeah, I'm ready to share a bed with him.
Are you going to sleep with Craig tonight? In the same bed, obviously.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Rebecca, if I ever seen a pick-me, then that's it. Look, I give her all the praise when it comes to Biggs. I mean, she clocks says that he's a little bit immature, unserious. She got hit that she was actually cheated on. He even texted other girls during their relationship. And look, she's like, look, you know what? I'm not the type that's gonna forget and forgive. So we done. But when it comes to Craig and Jazz, Oh, Rebecca is showing colors that me no like it. Like the fact that you are flirtatious and almost like pick me with a man who is there for another woman, and you don't have any empathy towards that woman and her work or her efforts to fix the relationship, and you're loving it because Craig and Rebecca find it so fun, and it's so like messy and she likes fun.
This is dangerous as well, but
Isn't it?
it's fun though.
I know. I like getting away.
Is unbelievable. It's like, girl, you need therapy, you need medicine, you need to reevaluate, in my humble opinion. Now, Jazz somehow accepts that Craig is not sharing a bed with her. I think it comes out later, like that he said that maybe it's like too fast, and I am baffled. I am baffled how she does not recognize that she is probably being a little bit played, because what do you mean constantly saying how you want to prove things to me, constantly saying how you want to spend time with me, all of this shit. But then when there is an opportunity for the two of us to actually share bed and I'm ready for it, you're like, I don't know if I'm ready. Like, how do you not see that this is crazy?
Good night, babe.
You said I'm not invited.
Stop being silly. You know you're more than welcome in my room. I've got my own side.
It would have been nice to sleep together, but there's plenty of time, so it's fine.
Now, what makes it even more redonkulous is the fact that other people clock it. Rebecca and Dan, which is another couple, they're like, okay, so Rebecca and Craig are clearly, hitting it off. I mean, this is so obvious.
I'm telling me.
And yet, Jazz is still like, I trust the process. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Now it's pool time, okay? All the exes and the couples are hanging by the pool, and we see Craig and Jazz, sharing this, bedside, whatever, and they are being flirty with each other, lovey-dovey. Jazz is admiring her abs, and she also says how she loves how much Craig loves her.
I love how much you love me.
I think everyone sees this.
The audacity of this man. And at this point, to all of us viewers, we are like, ay. This hurts. But again, at the same time, there is also a level of where Jazz seems to be a little bit maybe the Lulu about her relationship with Craig and how much he is actually into her, how much he does respect her and all of these things. So, there is a side, she's clueless to it, but then there's also a side of, but there are other signs that should indicate that maybe she's taking this a little bit too much. We are back together and we're going to work on this and we are perfect. Now, Rebecca is there. And as in any movie, let's remember, Craig and Jazz are in a movie, according to them. She is coming out of the pool. And even Jazz recognizes that this lady is smoking hot. And yes, I am 30 plus. Jazz is actually complimenting Rebecca of how stunning she is. But Craig is not biting. He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. And look, here's the thing. Like, what is he supposed to do? Damned if you say, yeah, she looks gorgeous, and damned if you don't. So it's a tricky area. Look, I'm going to be honest. I myself don't know how I would, sometimes I'm like, man, she looks gorgeous. And it's almost like, I want my man to say, yeah, she really looks gorgeous. But then there's the side eye of thinking, oh, wait. Did she just call another lady gorgeous? So, I do not know what to think about this. Let me know in the comments below. But it does make it so different when we know that he is, a little bit too buddy with Rebecca. So the fact that he's now like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, boy. Now, he does mention that him and Rebecca are very good friends. And, he kind of confirms with Jazz if she knows this. And Jazz is like, yeah, of course, I know it.
She's actually my bridging.
Yeah. She seems cool.
He also shares that he does not believe Rebecca and Biggs are gonna continue. And honestly, no one does. Like, no one believes the two of them are gonna, move forward in any way. At least me as a viewer, for sure not. So, okay. Now, I want to add one thing. Jazz, to me, clearly she is showing to be a confident, secure, a healthy woman, right? She is someone who is not afraid to acknowledge another woman's beauty, and she doesn't feel threatened in any way that Craig and Rebecca have this, tight friendship, because she trusts him, or she is committed to trusting him and trusts the whole process, which is also something that she shares in the confessional.
Rebecca G, I don't really know much about her. We don't really talk much. Her and Craig spend a lot of time, but I'm very secure in myself. And if he ever, then more for him.
And look, yes, confident queen. We don't say anything against it. Although, I don't know how you're gonna, look, Mary, I don't know how you're gonna accept what I have to say about these things. Sometimes we be too healthy? Where's the limit? Because if I look at the situation, I myself would not be really okay with the fact that my ex, who is trying to prove to me that I can trust him, becomes bestie with someone who is totally his type in a span of a couple of days. And they are basically the only two people who click together and are spending all this time together, while all of the other people seem to be acting normal. I personally would look at this situation and my first thought would be, how is he so comfortable developing this type of a friendship with someone clearly his type when we are here to rebuild my trust in him being a faithful person, right? And I'm not saying that that will prove that he is a faithful person. I'm just saying that doesn't help. I think that sometimes, and in this case, Jazz, we are so afraid to look like the jealous girlfriend or not secure that we totally forget that there are also other reasons why you would set a boundary. In this case, with your man being buddy-buddy with someone who is his type and they just met. I mean, the level of confidence Jazz has to trust Craig after everything she went through, to not be sus in any way about his friendships with Rebecca, is like, I could never. And okay, I'm a weak bitch, but I stay weak. For me, that would be a boundary being crossed. And then I would, talk with my person about the situation and then see how they react. If they can understand that this does not help me build the trust and, focus on us when I see him being like so close with another person, his type even, and he would distance himself, or he would understand me and say, okay, I understand that this current situation is what it is. The situation is not normal. So I can't expect you to act normal, which means don't be jealous of other people, right? We are here to rebuild trust. This is not helping, and that's okay because I'm more worried about you and our relationship rather than being friends with someone else. And if this same person, in this case, Craig, would be like, well, that's your problem, you're insecure and blah, 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 then that's already an indicator where his priority is. The problem with Jazz is that she's already taking the high ground. Like, she's already approaching this, you know what, I trust him and this and that. And although, as I said, yes, it's good, sometimes we are too focused on that rather than acknowledging that this in general, in basis, is a bit disrespectful based on why are we even here. I personally would look at this situation and I'll be like, cut the crap, okay? Pause, stop, let's put down the cameras. This is ridiculous. But now if we focus on Craig and everything that we see as viewers, isn't this just something that is kind of, on brand for Craig? In some way, you can say that he's just setting up a double life again. And when you as a viewer see it clearly that this man has not changed at all, and everything is based basically on his need for validation, you're kind of like, how the F do you do it? How can you sleep with yourself doing all of this and still claim? And it's like, this and everything is on TV. I mean, it does say how much confidence Craig has in himself that he can get away with it. And also at the same time, it shows how, oh my God, how insecure this man is. He needs people to compete for him, or he needs to have this sense of, he has many options, because that's the only way he actually feels validated. Because if he focuses only on one person, then he actually risks that this person is not going to get him the validation. So who is he then without it? That's why he needs to have a second person there so he can, have the safety net. Now, to be honest, looking at the whole situation, I personally think that Craig is actually testing Jazz. And he's not testing Jazz to see if she really cares about him, right? Like provoking jealousy and so on. He is testing how far he can push it. Developing a friendship with someone in such a short time, and with someone who is even his type and it's like known, they express it and so on, I think is a way to then see how Jazz will react. Now, because Jazz thinks that it's, how do you say, she is better to not be the jealous girlfriend and just trust and blah, 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 she fails to recognize that this just shows Craig how far he can go. The problem with testing boundaries is that usually they go further and further and further because you get trained to how much you accept. Now, at one point at the same pool, Jazz is, I guess she went away, and Craig is sitting there with Dan. Now we see Rebecca joining them and she sits in between. Now you never know with these things if it's, if producers say how to do it, if she's done it. But if this was real, it's like this woman cannot stop seeking attention, and it's honestly so embarrassing.
Oh, you're coming to join us?
Yeah.
Come on then, girl.
I'm coming to join.
So she scoops between Craig and Dan, and the first thing she does, at least from the edit, is commenting something about makeup and basically fishing for a compliment, which Craig gets caught because he, of course, compliments Rebecca immediately.
My makeup's all over.
Let me see. Oh, not bad. You look better without makeup, I told you that.
Now, Dan is kind of mocking them or kind of being like, what the hell are you two doing? To which Rebecca is like, well, he's full of compliments when someone else isn't around. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, he is when someone else is not around.
It is sad seeing how pathetic Rebecca is. Like this is me being very rude and everything, and honestly I'm just commenting on what the TV showed us, and I wonder how she feels looking back on this, because man, I would be embarrassed. Damn. Dan is sitting there and he says that he's feeling like a third wheel, and he even kind of calls them out. He's like, are we gonna all play dumb here? Because clearly these two are crossing boundaries they shouldn't cross, right? And even in the confessionals, he says that it's so clear that there's a lot of chemistry between Rebecca and Jazz, and not Jazz, Craig, and they should just address it, right? While the two of them are claiming that this is just like, how do you say, innocent flirt. Sure. You know what's always interesting in these things? If it's such an innocent flirt and if it doesn't really mean anything, and if you are confident that it's not crossing any boundaries, why don't you do it in front of Jazz? Huh? Why don't you do it in front of her? Like, that's always an easy way to disarm people who are like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Now, if I focus a little bit on Rebecca, because of course we need to bitch about a character like her. Here's the thing. I see her as a very selfish person, insecure, and a dum-dum. And I'm going to break down every part of this, okay? So, when it comes to being selfish, clearly she is all about herself. Because the fact that she is, being flirtatious with Craig and so on shows clearly she has zero empathy or a sense of, responsibility or common decency towards Jazz and Jazz being in this experience, right? While Rebecca is the type to take care of herself and, I will not accept a cheater when it comes to bigs, she is also the type who would stomp over anyone to get what she wants, and most definitely is not a girl's girl. And I know that saying girl's girl is such a, it's kind of a cringe thing, but like honestly, it's really not a cringe thing, because in everything that we're going through, even in these cases, we are not going to support each other, especially, Rebecca and Jazz kind of having similar experience, being cheated on and so on, like that you don't even have any sense of compassion. It's kind of sad. Like, honestly, it's so sad. Clearly, Rebecca thinks that she is better than Jazz. Clearly, she loves to be competitive. I mean, she is, like I said, a pick-me, because her only focus is, look, Craig and Jazz are not really, they're not really clicking, which honestly, at least she sees it. Jazz should see it also. And me and Biggs didn't work out, and me and Craig get along so well. So let's just skip this shenanigans, or let's just fast forward. She has a tunnel vision. I'm better, period. Now, this I'm better goes into also a double standard and, her being a little bit of a dum-dum. But before going into that, I also said that she's very insecure. And, if you know anything about Pick Me, you know that they are extremely insecure. And to me, the fact that Rebecca keeps on fishing for compliments, later on, we're going to see also pushes Craig. Any opportunity she gets to have this one up over Jazz, if you have to do it in that way, you are really, really insecure, despite her acting as though she's very confident, and that's why she goes after Craig like that. I would even say that Rebecca is the type of girl that knows, or woman that knows, that she has looks on her side, that she also has a fun personality, and she thrives on being the chosen one from men, right? She thrives on being the girl that every man wants, right? Also with Biggs, if we think about it, she said that they were so they were just joking all the time together and the relationship was so perfect. But at the same time, she felt very unhappy and she wanted to party. And that's why she, stepped away from the relationship, which again feeds into this. How honest was she actually in the relationship itself, and how much it was all just a performance of a perfect person. And also this sense of being better because she left the relationship, even though, nothing was wrong, because she's so self-aware. And also the fact that she's going after Craig, who is here for another person, is again this thing of I'm gonna win because I'm better, right? She needs to prove herself that she is the better one. All of this to me screams lacking true security. Another indication why is this an insecurity act is because we also need to think about her experience at this retreat. She got an ego hit at the beginning. She found out that she was actually cheated on, that she was not appreciated. She immediately goes after someone else to get that reassurance back. If she was a bit more secure, healthy, and mature person, she would end it with Biggs and she would leave it at that. But the fact that she needs to hang on to another guy just shows how insecure she actually is, not being appreciated, not being validated. At the end of the day, this is all it is. She's just screaming for validation because her ego was hit finding out that she was cheated on. Now, this superiority also bleeds into the dum-dum part, because how the F are you gonna tell me that you cannot be with Biggs because he cheated on you, and yet you go after a man who cheated on two people at the same time for 9 freaking months? This man is now in a retreat to fix things with this person, and yet he is being flirtatious with you. What is the difference between Craig and Biggs for Rebecca to have this double standard? Well, the difference is her. The difference is that Biggs cheated on her, which is a no-no, but Craig cheated on someone else, which that doesn't impact her. Not only that, he's actually being flirtatious with her. She's the one who is the better one. Clearly, she has a selective logic, okay? A betrayal is a betrayal only if her ego is injured. But if someone else is involved, she doesn't care about that. She values herself too much to forgive Biggs, and yet she goes after Craig, who is a red flag walking in itself. Honestly, at the end of the day, I genuinely do believe that Rebecca is after her own validation. I don't even believe that she's really into Craig. I think that he is just an ego boost. He is the safety net, or he is the the branch that she grabbed after she got a hit from Biggs, and nothing is real. And she's so focused on getting that she does not literally care about anyone else who can get hurt in the process. Now, Rebecca actually shares with some of her friends, with girls that she kind of got close to, that she is not, she's not seeing her and Biggs continuing because she's also kind of falling for Craig.
I think yeah, the one doing the Craig guy.
And the girls are like, lady, Missy, girly, can you have a little bit of a reality check?
You've got to remember why he's here as well, because he led 2-1 at the same time.
Are you sure you're being sane? Girls, you forget that she is the hotter, superior woman. If Craig is getting distracted by Rebecca, it's not because Craig is questionable himself. It's because Rebecca is that good. No, sweetie. You're just the one who made herself available. So she decides she needs to have a conversation with Craig and share how she feels. And also get him to share how he feels.
I think you just need to be honest with how you feel.
I think we're feeling the same.
But the thing is that this is an awkward position and he does not want to make any mistake. Besides, how does he know that what he's feeling or what Rebecca is claiming to feel for him is actually real?
I think you're just trying to play it safe.
Yeah, 100%. I came in here for her. How do I know this just ain't her?
But Rebecca is like, no, shh, Craig. You need to do what feels right. And that's also what I'm gonna do. So, ditch the other one and let's do this.
Because obviously the reason coming in here was to try and fix that. He didn't know this was going to happen, and then here we are.
Like, she is so desperate, but again, I think the desperation comes from need for validation rather than actually being into Greg. And he's just like... So the whole vibe is Rebecca trying to convince Craig, to do what feels right, while Craig on the other side is basically just trying to save face, because his mission is like, you know what? I do not want to look like the bad guy here, okay? We both know what's going on, and maybe, on the outside we can... click. But right now here, I need to focus on Jazz, which is so ridiculous because he keeps on trying to, he's thinking about saving face, not realizing that you've already blew it. There is no focus on Jazz because clearly you're not. So what the F, man? Honestly, I think it would be much more respected if Craig would be kind of like, let's say if he would take the route of saying, man, I fucked up. I actually fell for Rebecca. Clearly, I am not in the right mindset to work on relationships. Like, genuinely apologize to Jazz, apologize to even Rebecca, apologize to the show, to the viewers, and kind of walk away with that, right? At least stand for something. But honestly, luckily, it didn't happen that way, because if that would happen, then just another liar got away with it, right? So, no. Craig did Craig, and luckily, we could see what kind of person he is. Now, in confessionals, which I already shared, but basically Rebecca shares how she does not see Jazz and Craig progressing, basically also on how she saw the two of them acting and the fact that he's flirtatious with her. Clearly, that relationship is not as strong as everyone thinks or wants to believe it is.
I think everyone knows to get over somebody, you got to get under somebody else.
Now, I have no idea who this everyone is because honestly, I've left high school some time ago. Rebecca is not after Craig because she actually likes him, because she actually wants something. She is just grabbing another branch to soothe her hurt ego, basically. All of this to her is, in my opinion, a game. She's not taking anything seriously. And maybe it's also because, like I said, I think she was like from Love Island or something. So maybe she's approaching the whole reality TV in a little bit of a different way. And she kind of forgets that there are real people here who really get hurt, right? Like Jazz. Now, Rebecca also says to Craig that at the end of the day, she does not want to be a second options. But at the same time, if things don't work out with Jazz, he should come to her.
If it's not feeling great with her, then you know, come to me.
And it's honestly, it's so pathetic. Like, I feel embarrassed. Craig, though, is sus. Like, how does he know that this is not just, a fling? And it will actually ruin the real thing that he could have with Jazz. But Rebecca just needs to clear Craig's mind because...
I mean, am I worth the risk?
And despite Rebecca thinking that that's going to do something, Craig is like, well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if you're worth the risk.
I don't know. So I'm trying to work out.
I think like Rebecca is just getting another hit, honestly. It's Yoy, man. She came out so bad in this. But honestly, you can't come out that bad if you are not bad on some level. So, therapy, both of you. When it comes to Craig, I mean, ding, ding, ding. Do we need to emphasize even more how he is not at all someone who is truthful to the other person? How he is not someone who is actually looking for a real partnership, a real relationship, because to him, it's all about, well, how do I know that I do not end up alone here, right? How do I know that if I'm flirting with you here, and if I say yes to you, you're not just gonna walk away when right here, I have a sure thing, right? I mean, sure, she's like, until someone better comes along, right? But still, it's a sure thing. That's the vibe Craig is giving to me. Like, it's ridiculous.
I'd come here to try and rekindle stuff with my ex, but it's just a bit confusing because I didn't think I'd meet someone like Rebecca that I really get on with.
And honestly, I call bull. Like, I call bull because, like I said, if he was genuine about this, if this was really like something that shook his core, meeting someone who he gets along even better than Jazz, then he would take this as like a normal, healthy person would, like acknowledge it, step away, apologize, and, reevaluate some things. But the fact that he's like, oh my God, I just met another person and oops, maybe Jazz isn't it. Was Jazz ever really it? Was she ever really it? If you think about it, he didn't even leave his first relationship for Jazz, even though Jazz is the one, right? And now he's here to fix things with Jazz, and yet he falls for another girl like in a span of a couple of days. Like, right? It's a little, who's the dum-dum here? But, ladies and gentlemen, if you were wondering, how did Craig even keep up with the double life for 9 months in the real life? Well, we're gonna have front row seats in seeing how he does it. And boy, you think that these things are only in movies, seriously. And you think Liam is the worst. And then you see Craig and you're like, I need to move to Mars. Like, I don't even know if I want to be on this planet anymore. We see Craig with Jazz, and he has something to share with his misses, something that is troubling him. You see, Rebecca is getting a little bit too clingy.
Yeah, that's weird, yeah. I feel like I've got to be careful with Bex.
Right.
I don't know, like, I feel like she's a bit too clingy to me.
Biz, he says that to Jazz while we just watched him share that he would be with Rebecca if he would be sure that this is a real thing. How many times did he hit his head when he was a child? Like, what happened to this man? Huh? Now, if you think that this is, the peak, oh boy. So when he shares this with Jazz, Jazz is like, you know what? To be honest, I've noticed it also.
But like, every time I see you, just always you two together.
Bro.
I'm like, serious eye-dye.
Oh my God. and you're as a viewer are watching this and you're like, oh, because you're like literally watching a train wreck and you cannot do anything. This mother. And when I was looking at Jazz, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, how are you being played?
You clocked it as well?
Yeah, I clocked it.
Why didn't you say?
Of course I fucking clocked it.
Because this is about trust, no? This whole exercise is about trust.
So Craig's strategy is to set the foundation that in case something comes out or something happens, he's already, creating this sense of it's us against Rebecca with Jazz. Like Rebecca is the one that's coming after me, which positions Jazz into being protective of her man. She's focused on scanning Rebecca while Craig is like walking by with all the red flags attached.
She's always just lurking, like she likes him. Like,
here is the harsh truth. At least in my truth, or like in my opinion. If someone is so confident in pursuing your partner, there is a reason why they even have that confidence. I genuinely do not believe that someone would go after someone with the intensity Rebecca is going after Craig, that even Jazz herself notices, and they wouldn't do it because that person showed them that they can, Like, who in the right mind would go after someone who is clear with them that they have no chance, that there is no way this is gonna cross in anything? You know who? A mentally challenged person, someone who needs to, seek medical help. We all watched Reindeer, right? And even in Reindeer, what was Reindeer was the title. The guy basically admitted that he did in some way also fuel into, this person coming after him. Even in that case. But you think that someone in a retreat, someone with seems to be a normal person, selfish, yes, a pick-me, yes, needs to do therapy for other reasons, yes, go after your man, and you think that your man didn't give her the okay, is, you are, it's a little bit delusional. It's the Lulu. But here's the thing when it comes to Jazz, and why am I even more like, what the F are you thinking, woman? Apart from all the red flags that we went through, let me ask you this. How does it not click that the man who has been living a double life, lying to you for 9 months, is now caught up in potentially another person going after him after they claim that they are just good friends and, they met in this retreat and they're his type and so. Like, seriously, like, at what point do we start connecting the dots? On one hand, this is a man who lied for 9 months and cheated on me and cheated on another person for 9 months, and he's claiming that he's changed. And on the other hand, I have this girl who is after him, but at the same time, they were kind of best friends, and at the same time, she is his type. How come he is the one who got himself into this situation? How do you not connect that maybe he had something to do with it? And maybe he's not so changed and innocent as you think he is. Look, I get it. Sometimes you want to believe that your man is such a catch because, of course, he's a catch because you're a catch. You're that special that you actually got him, that now everyone else wants him and you need to protect it, right? The thing is that there is a high probability that you didn't score a catch, but a douche, okay? And you being played. Now, at this point, Rebecca calls it off with Biggs, and honestly, long time coming. Now, we see Craig pulling Rebecca aside because, you know what? According to him, best relationships start with friendship, and him and Rebecca have a good friendship.
My head's spinning right now. Obviously, I find you mad attractive. Just trying to be a good boy now.
But Rebecca is like, boy, you've been effing up. So I don't know if you're really succeeding at that. Now, Craig is a bit surprised because according to him, he didn't cross any boundaries yet. I mean, he didn't actually do anything wrong.
Why'd you say that? I ain't broken no rules yet, mate.
Sure, Craig, tell yourself that story, okay? Again, would you act this way? Would you say these things if Jazz was sitting next to you? Yeah, that's an indicator that you are crossing boundaries. I guess I already shared this, but at this point, he tells her that basically if there was no Biggs and if there was no Jazz and on the outside, if they were on the outside, that this was no-brainer, which basically just confirms that Craig is all about validating himself and there is no actual truth in pursuing Jazz. He sees Rebecca. Rebecca, I guess, for him is the better option. But at the same time, he doesn't really want to pursue her because, I mean, Rebecca herself might be having other options and who knows if this is going to be like real, right? So he's basically, man, run. They kind of end the conversation with him saying that they probably both know where this will end, almost like implying that they're gonna get together eventually. And Rebecca is like, oh my God, you're such a little shit or whatever.
I think we kind of actually probably gotta...
You're such a little shit. You love it?
And then we see him going back to Jazz. Now, again, we don't know the editing, right? This could be like, purposely done this way. But what we see is how he goes back to Jazz. He kisses her and he's like, I love you. I choose you every day. And it's like, oh my God. Like, he's insane. Like, this is not real. This is not real. Because if this is real, oh my, wow. Now, he actually shares with Jazz that he had a conversation with Rebecca. He just leaves out the truth.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm here for you and I love you and I'll make that apparent. I don't think I can handle it any better way.
I respect you. And I appreciate you doing it.
Again, knowing that Craig lied to her for 9 months, I just cannot really understand how come Jazz never went to Rebecca and directly talked to her. Like, what is driving Jazz to just accept that Rebecca is the one who is after her man and that's it? I mean, if you think about it, Jazz herself is not really, thinking straight and she is easily pitted against Rebecca.
Craig, well done, you did good. But with her, I feel like it's very disrespectful.
She want to be onto my man. Trifling little bitch.
And it's very easy for Craig to create this triangulation because, well, the women won't talk between the two of them. The women won't respect one another and, try to... on some level recognize that maybe if this guy already lied to me so many times and maybe if this guy is a cheater from Rebecca's point of view, why wouldn't the two of them have the conversation? I feel like it's such, man, it's so annoying, but it's honestly like something that we genuinely need to work on, this sisterhood. And it might sound cringe, but seriously, why is it so easy to pit us against each other? And why do we always compete for the affection of the guy? The thing is that even though this is so, like you can see how she's failing herself, at the end of the day, honestly, this whole retreat is in a way failing her in some way. The first thing is that she clearly still loves this man and she does believe that they are a perfect match, perfect couple that kind of met at the wrong time. So she does want this fairy tale, this love between the two of them to be real. Then everyone in the retreat was vouching for him since the get-go. How Craig is so into her, how he is really remorseful. Other girls were saying that they wish their partner would be as committed and fighting for their love the way Craig is fighting for Jazz. Then she was hit with the you're being too harsh, so you need to soften, which makes her feel even more like I need to trust him, I need to trust this process, I shouldn't be doubting him, I need to meet him halfway, which makes her very, easy to miss the actual problems that are happening in this retreat. And the first thing is how he shut her down in front of everyone, prioritizing a guy who is lying and everyone knows it over herself, despite claiming that he wants to show her how he respects her and yada. He gets in a triangulation, the only person out of everyone in this retreat in this short span of a time, and she doesn't recognize how, again, the focus went from him to this third person. And what makes it even more challenging to understand is the fact that all of this happened in a span of 2 weeks of being in this retreat. She does not recognize these things, but she does say that in 2 weeks, or Craig showed her in some way that he changed and she needs to trust him also, meet him halfway. Like, how? There is a point where you also need to take self-responsibility and how much you are throwing sand in your face, in your eyes, because you want your fairy tale story to be real. It sucks. It sucks. Now, after all of this, they face in the reckoning room.
So you've been flirting with him?
Well, flirting it takes two.
So Craig, this is your chance to defend yourself.
I've come to you and I've told you the truth. And then you're trying to put me up on this table. Don't do that. Because I'll just walk out of it.
All of this creates a lot of confusion, like what happened, who said what. But basically, it is a mess, and Jazz is also doubtful about the whole situation. Now, after it, they have a private session with Paul. So Jazz has a session with Paul, the expert, and so does Craig. Now, Jazz first expressed that when Craig came to her and told her about Rebecca, how she's coming after him, and how he put her in her place, that Jazz felt reassured by that, and she saw it as a test that Craig passed. But after the reckoning room, now she has a bit of doubts because, I mean, on one hand, it's like, was it reciprocated? Like, did Craig also, flirt with Rebecca, or didn't he? Now, Paul asks her if she feels like she has been cheated on in this retreat. But for Jazz, it's more complicated than that because
when you called her out and asked her to specify one single thing he said that was flirtatious, she couldn't do it.
Basically implying that Rebecca might just be lying about everything because she couldn't even share how exactly did Craig come after her.
It's frustrating because, cheating aside, perfect couple, best man I've ever dated.
And I do not understand the logic. Like, I don't, what do you mean apart from cheating? First of all, really? I didn't see it in this show at least. But what makes you think that cheating is something that just happened to you as a couple and it wasn't a decision that he made continuously because he does not really respect you or value you as much as you think you should be valued? So saying we were a perfect couple, to me, sounds like you were living in a fantasy and you still live in a fantasy where there's a whole reality that is burning below. And if we say that everything was perfect and this cheating was like even hidden, well, what about the fact that it's easy to be very nice to you knowing that he's doing a shady thing on the side? Like, does that have any impact on how perfect this relationship is? I don't know. I find it so interesting when people say that. It's perfect apart from cheating. Cheating is a big freaking thing. Cheating is not just I've just been with someone else. It's the outcome of many wrong things in a relationship. And then if you don't want to acknowledge it, I mean, okay, then don't acknowledge it. Yeah, then you were perfect. Now, Paul invites her to be a bit more, open to really looking under the surface level of Craig's intentions. She should also focus on herself and self-empowerment.
That was self-empowerment.
Being strong, believing in yourself and believing in your morals and your values.
Yes.
Standing up for yourself, doing what's right for you.
Now, Paul also has a conversation with Craig, and Craig comes prepared because, look, according to him, he just really got very well got along very well with Rebecca, and it was friendship. He really believed that. But then it started from her side to turn into something else, and then he didn't want that. So, he did the right thing and he shut it down. Now, Craig forgets that Paul is like, Paul proved himself to be a badass since this whole show started. He's not afraid to call shit out. And he also calls Craig out. He's like, Craig.
From what I hear you saying is that you did everything right.
I thought I did.
From my perspective, you were walking the flirting line. What you were doing is very ambiguous. If your main focus is Jazz, there should be no ambiguity.
Now, again, I don't know if this is the editing, but if it is, chef's kiss, because Craig looks in the distance and he's like, well, if I look at it like that, then I can understand now. I should have shut it down earlier.
Yeah, when I look at it now, you're right.
At one point, Craig even starts crying and he cannot believe how many mistakes can you make with the woman you love.
How can you make so many mistakes and hurt someone that you love so much?
And I'm like, cut the crap. Okay? Who's cutting the onions? Because this is such bullshit. Like, the woman you love and you want to share everything with, blah, blah, blah. And yet, the first person that passes you and she's hot and you get along with, you're like, oh, maybe we can dip into that. Like, please. Now, Paul advises to Craig that he should come clean to Jazz. Like, totally open and honest. Admit your mistake and tell her that you want to work on this with her together, right? Total transparency and honesty. And I'm going to be honest, I think Paul is smart. Okay, I think Paul is like, look, if Jazz hears it from his mouth that he did it again, she's gonna walk away, hopefully, right? But at the same time, if I present this to Craig as, you need to be honest and this is going to work, he's going to think that this is a good advice. Like, that's how I read it. Because I was like, Paul, we both know you are not telling to Craig to come clean to Jazz because you think that Jazz would actually accept it and continue. Because she just told him that if Craig actually gave any, was flirting back with Rebecca, like, she's done. So, kind of smart. Now they have like a day out, right? They have like spent the day out of the retreat or whatever. And in this mingling, it comes out that Rebecca most definitely was not the only one who was flirting with Craig, and that Craig himself had a lot to do with it.
So he definitely was flirting back with her.
They were both flirting with each other.
And you saw it.
Everyone saw it in our side.
Saw it.
Yeah.
And everyone is like, you know what? It was very clear to all of us. And this pisses Jazz off because she's like, are you freaking kidding me?
Literally, everyone thinking Sunshine's out of his ass and he's so genuine, but he's actually the fakest person here.
She pulls him aside and she goes at him because what in the actual F? She calls him out on flirting with Rebecca, with another girl. She calls out the hypocrisy, how he's here because he lived a double life, and yet he's doing it now again, while Craig is just, trying to make himself the victim in some way. Or basically, saying that he's only there for Jazz and he just wants to fix what they have, and it's all bullshit.
Jazz,
I'm in the next room and you're chatting to another girl.
I only want you, Jazz. There's no one else. I cannot let you go.
She also tells him that she feels humiliated, and not only did he embarrass her, he also embarrassed himself. And, this is again going into the, what will other people say? And I guess it's a theme. We talked about it in the first video. Now, Craig starts asking her if she is willing to throw everything away, everything that they built. And somehow he doesn't realize that he was literally doing that the whole time. But now it's like, are you going to throw all of this away? Isn't it funny? And I think that's kind of a theme. When someone betrays you, but then you're the one who's like, I'm walking away. They're like, oh, you're willing to walk away from everything? Biz, what did you do when you went with someone else? Huh? Like, honestly, it's such a pathetic tactic that unfortunately many people still fall for. And, you know, they stay for the kids. They stay because, wow, we know each other for 10 years and we can work. Bullshit. Walk away. Seriously, walk away and focus on finding someone else, because that will give you much more than staying with the person who already betrayed you and claims they will change and blah, blah, blah. And you need to go through all of this shit again. And no. Okay. Again, my opinion, call me weak. Now, this escalates even more, because when Jazz is like, she is done and she is walking away, Craig is yelling after her how she is gonna regret this.
We're done.
You will regret this. You will regret this.
Me or you?
Because you'll never find a man that will try and help you as much as I can.
No, I'll find a faithful man. How about that?
Remember, you threw all of this away, Jazz, yeah? I wish you the best in life. I loved you with all my heart. Remember that.
Yes, Craig, you're such a catch. And honestly, it's giving another, you know, how to recognize a narcissist, right? Like, seriously. He's by the book. I mean, the level of toxicity of this man is insane. All in all, this all comes to an end. Now, a little, you know, after story, I guess. Basically, after the retreat finishes and before they do like the final reunion, we find out that Craig was still in contact with Jazz. He hooked up with her, and at the same time, he hooked up with Rebecca, while telling to Rebecca that he's not in contact with Jazz, and while telling Jazz that he's not in contact with Rebecca. So it again comes out that he was, even on the outside, trying to play both of them in some way and lying to both of them. So it is just diabolical. But I need to finish here because it's a long video. I hope you got some insights for yourself or for that friend that you need to give some advice. And whatever you do, you know, trust your individuality.